There's a scramble for bank licenses heats up. Top sources in the government tell ET now that the government is likely to make it mandatory for license applicants to get a CVC clearance. This is going to be made mandatory as the government aims to weed out applicants from applications from companies that have some sort of a criminal investigation pending. So Prashwini Johnson with exclusive details on that story that's breaking right here on ET now. So we do know that a panel has been set up by the government to, in a sense, sort out the applications and to weed out some of these applications. What are you picking up from your sources in the government on the likely process that it's likely to put in place?
We're given to understand, and this is of course by highly placed sources within the Ministry of Finance and people associated with this bank license grant, that the first process will be by the RBI. The RBI officials will weed out applicants on the basis of the eligibility criteria, which perhaps will be an objective weeding out. So, it is going to be an eligibility criteria, and that's when the weeding out will happen. Bimal Jalan's panel will be in consultation with RBI when that happens. The second stage of screening really will be done by the Bimal Jalan panel, and which is why this panel has been constituted, headed by the former RBI governor. Now, this panel's weeding out, or this panel's subjection will perhaps be very, very subjective. It is not going to be as objective as, certain criteria or tick in the boxes. This will be a subjective process. As a part of that subjective process, it will mandate a CVC clearance for all applicants who've come through the second stage, which essentially means that applicants who've got criminal proceedings pending against them, a CBI, an income tax, or any other, government enforcement agency arm probe against them, say an ED or a FEMA or a PMLA violation, will not qualify, will not be given a banking license. And the rationale is very simple. The rationale is that while corporates have been welcome to come in, corporates cannot be given a free hand, because RBI, as the banking sector regulator, can just monitor so much on the periphery. It cannot really monitor what happens within group companies, and which is why this process, this mandatory CVC clearance will be asked for. We, however, given to understand that RBI is in the mood to give out very limited number of banking licenses, so it's not going to be euphoric as everybody thought initially, 10, 12 banking licenses, at the most 4 or 5, of which PSU applicants will have an obvious bias, because the top sources we've been speaking to believe that PSUs will have an obvious bias for the simple reason that their monitoring and screening is far easier, far more transparent than it is for a private sector enterprise. It's important to note here that the process will be very, very subjective. It will be discretionary, yes, and which is why the RBI has got an independent panel under Bimal Jalan to do so, and the Bimal Jalan panel is likely to ask for a CVC clearance mandatory. So everybody who has a criminal proceeding pending against them, a criminal investigation, a criminal probe, will perhaps be weeded out.